Welcome everyone to our first knockout stage matchup here between SomePoorChoices and MrMath. SomePoorChoices comes in as the first seed from Group D versus the second seed MrMath from Group Group B. This will be a fun matchup. Both these cartwheelers tend to play a pretty reserved style, every now and then looking to play outside their normal playbook. But it's going to be a real kind of, vanilla on vanilla. Not to say that they don't have anything fun in their play style, but the same kind of flavor to their play that we'll be seeing here. So let's go ahead and get this underway. Bands were City and Refinery. We begin on Palace. See both of them start off at 3 aura. It looks like Math has already moved up to PoorChoices base with the Will-o'-the-Wisp, looking to put some pressure down. PoorChoices avoids 2 or 3 in a row there. Looks like he used an Angel's Tears. Playing nice and calm. Fortress blocks that Willow. PoorChoices continues to block conservatively. Picks up a yellow. So we see the Nature and the Faith aura out of PoorChoices. We see Nature aura out of Math, and we saw the Will-o'-the-Wisp. So they're both running Faith Nature. We could see Pops here. Probably going to see Willows and Reincarnations. I know PoorChoices really likes the Venom Fang as well. Math also pretty heavily favors ice moves. These are all some of the things that we might see this match. Just taking a nap on the bench over here. Nice cozy place to be while these gentlemen get on our first matchup of the quarterfinals. I know a lot of people had Math pegged as the player to beat here in this series. PoorChoices goes and he gets a D-trick down. We'll have to see if that was meaningful or not. Will-o'-the-Wisps, the last one does connect. PoorChoices fires off one of his own. Math dodges both. Blazing Sword is erased by PoorChoices, but he does take another Willow in the back for his troubles. PoorChoices still trying to defend himself from Math's Willow. Struggling a little bit here. Math has gotten some good chip damage in. 2 Willows in. Already takes him down a quarter of his health. Flash Hole does in the Willow, but he does take another one from poor timing and then gets hit by an Ice Sword. PoorChoices now on the back foot against MrMath while frozen. And the second one connects. It is now a 6 health to 20 deficit with the Ice Sword running rampant all over PoorChoices. Math firing at just the right angles. That's a good one, but it doesn't connect. PoorChoices with good cartwheel timing. Throws out a Willow. Has to beware. There's at least one more Ice Sword use on MrMath there. I think it's 6 cost right now. PoorChoices walks that one. Now uses the Stimulate. He is 4 health to Math's 20. He's got a long deficit to make up here if he wants to make a dent in this game. Math now with 2 new attacks, likely. Probably already dropped the Ice Sword. Vacuum Slash doesn't connect for PoorChoices. Willow, neither. Ice Sword is caught. That looks like he did hold on to it, and it was like a 7 or 8 cost at that point. We don't know what the last attack there is. Manual aimed Reincarnation. PoorChoices has gotten rid of his Flash Hole, so he's just holding onto the Fortress. Now with another shield, we see the Angel's Wing come out. That'll be a little bit better for blocking the Reincarnation. Poor Choice is still looking to get some pressure down with the Diabolical Trick. It's risky, though, at such low health. Tempo is in the favor of Poor Choices right now, but Math has such a big advantage right now with the health that it's going to be real hard to see Poor Choices pull this out. Especially with the reincarnation still. That's not a move he can get rid of from Mr. Math. Looks like he does drop his own Angel's Wing in favor of another attack. The Whirlwind is blocked by Guard of Water, but the last reincarnation does connect onto Poor Choices right below him. And that'll be game 1 to Mr. Math taking the early lead in our first quarterfinal matchup. And we will be headed to Highway next. See if Poor Choices is able to get a better start this time. Math really just slowly chipped away at Poor Choices' health. And eventually the health disparity was just too much. Poor Choices couldn't really afford to trade with him at that point. So we'll have to see what the two players pull out here now. So we see 4 aura start out of both players. Poor Choices now picking up some more aura from his second spawn. See the nature aura out of him along with a purple and a yellow. Likely going to be running an optic nature if I were to take my guess. Math already has a heat on. Poor Choices now as well. Ice Sword is dodged by both players. That one's erased by that Angel's Wing. We'll have to see if Poor Choices can deal with Math's. Math now at 4 cost on his Ice Sword. He's only got 1 more use. Looks like Poor Choices relearned his. Is gonna take a hit there. It looked like did he try to Turbulence? Is that what it was? Not 100% sure what he was going for there. Math now retreats back to base. He'll have 1 more aura, so he can pick up another use of the Ice Sword, or he can overwrite if he so chooses. Looks like he wants to wait on a few more capsules. Poor Choice is now boosting up, looking to hit Vibration here soon. Needs 1 more aura to do so. Math picks up another aura particle and is coming back up with the same Ice Sword. Hesitates. Stays down there. Looks like he's not ready to go up and engage, but Poor Choices is now with the heat and the vibration. He's going to start throwing out some vibration lasers here at Math. There we go. Got my angle finally. Blazing Sword does connect onto Math, but Poor Choices also falls off. That was a 9 damage Blazing Sword, all things considered. Healing Water for both players. And a relearn for Poor Choices. So he's going to move back in. There's a lot of damage onto Mr. Math. Good answer to the flash hole as well. Glacial Wall is broken there. Math easily staying away from this Blazing Sword. That one connects. Puts Math at a disadvantage now. But Poor Choices is without a shield versus the Willow. Needs to be careful. That one also connects. He gets the Fortress to pop up with the Vibration Laser, and then he's able to capitalize with the Blazing Sword. Math 1 hit away from death. Poor Choices playing this really nicely. Has to stay away from the Willow now. Math looking to put the hurt on. 1 more hit and that's the Blazing gone. Nice cartwheel out of Poor Choices. Keeps himself in blazing range. But now he's even more cut off from his base. As he falls down to the lower level, Math can control the staircase. There's not a lot Poor Choices can do. Honestly, might want to take the long route, but Math could just wait for him. Don't think he's going to make it to the staircase in time. Decides to roll off, actually. And he's got a few more attacks now. Healing Water allows him to use that Blazing Sword once more. Cartwheels both Will-o'-the-Wisps. Quite impressive. And now he's on Mr. Math's tail. He's getting tense here. No shield still for Poor Choices. Any of his attacks land and Math is dead. Math has a lot of ground to make up here. Vibration Blaster narrowly misses. Another good cartwheel by Math. Ooh, that's the Flame Sword down. Angel's Wing now broken out of Math, but that's both swords gone for Poor Choices. It's going to be Willow versus Blaster. Both cartwheels. They're on the Willow. Poor Choices showing really good Willow timings this game. That one is not dodged. Neither is that one. Oh, and he takes the fall off too. Math playing extremely resilient here. Blaster doesn't connect. That one does, and that's the game to Poor Choices, who takes a gambit there at the end, shooting both Vibration Blasters back to back, hoping to catch one onto Math while he was trying to throw his Willows. And that ties up our series with a ballsy play out of Poor Choices as we now head into Panorama. We have ourselves a match, folks. I'll have to see here. Both of these players really fond of the large melee, such as MrMath101 and Photon Burst here on this map, so this could be really explosive and really fast, depending on their setup. Not as likely to see some of the traditional melee. We've got a quick aura start for Poor Choices. Looks like he used a level amp even. Got a heat onto Math already. Let's see if we can get some sight on these guys. So we do see the Faith out of Poor Choices. We heard the level amp. Math, we can see the nature from the heat that he used. There we go. Guard of Water comes in. Ice Sword is cartwheeled. MrMath101 is relearned. Ice Sword dodged a second time. Looking to get his aura up for the MrMath101. Oh, neither one connects. Nice cartwheel out of Poor Choices. Math loses his reincarnation, I believe. Armoros gonna put Math in a tough spot. There's been a lot of action already in this series. I have to see where these players want to take it next. Math needs to find an answer to the stats being reversed or a way to take Poor Choices down despite it. Poor Choices still just sitting on one attack right now. Has used the back-to-back MrMath101 with the relearn already. Math is back in there with another attack. Likely still has the Ice Sword. Fire Gehenna does hit Math in the stairwell. Nice shot. Math clearly not expecting it. At least in my experience, cartwheelers dodge Fire Gehenna pretty easily unless you're able to surprise them, which Poor Choices did a good job of right there. Not the skill you most expect on Panorama, with all the corners and angles. Puts them at even health now. Poor Choices with a green in hand. $14 aura, 2 attacks, one of them's Fire Gehenna. Poor Choices moves in. Likely going to try and put some Photon Burst. No, he's got the Reincarnation. Still don't know what his green is, though. Ice Sword connects, but so does the Reincarnation. That's a positive trade for Poor Choices. And that'll be, I believe, a 7-cost Ice Sword now, only doing 1 damage. Another reincarnation connects for Poor Choices in the hallway. Math uses the healing water, puts himself back in health contention. Flash hole. Looks like it does catch the reincarnation out of Poor Choices, so he's going to retreat now. Likely still has the Fire Gehenna, but not willing to lose it also to the flash hole there. Both of them have faith. Getting a little bit low on capsules, a little bit low on options here. We'll have to see what these guys are willing to break out as it gets later. Math still unable to handle the stats differential. Has been a real problem for him. The healing water puts him back in contention, but most of Poor Choice's damage is self-inflicted. 6 points, 2 from the double Miramasa, 1 from the Fire of Gehenna, and I believe 1 or 2 points from 1 damage Ice Sword. Now at 8 and 7 capsules respectively, Math is still digging. It looks like he really wants to find that return to nature. Poor Choices playing it pretty conservatively. Faith on both of these players. Going to be looking towards the Diabolical Trick or possibly Violent Change coming. Looks like an Erase Shell, and with the -1 that doesn't even break versus the Will-o'-the-Wisp. That can't feel good. Another yellow picked up by Math. That's another healing water. But that just digs him closer and closer to a pop-out finish. There goes the Angel's Wing. Flash hole, not quite. Blaster didn't connect. Math now down to 3 capsules, but holding a purple. He could be looking to pop now. Fortress should handle Poor Choice's attacks fairly well. We do see the Blazing Sword. Poor Choices baited right there. 2 more Blazing Sword hits, and that will be the end for Poor Choices. Needs to drop the Fire Gehenna. I know he tends to run Photon Burst in this arsenal. And Mr. Math is beginning the pop. He has a health advantage here, and Poor Choice is also low on capsules. It's a bad spot for him to be in. Gets another. Actually, it seems like he missed that one. Blazing Sword is erased, so that takes away Math's pressure in the base in a way. Ooh, that was a nice move by Math. Poor Choice is now down to 2 capsules. He needs to connect both blaster shots here. Honestly, Math can trade. Is that the Photon Burst, though? Yes, it is. Math not really going to be able to go for that. Can't get around the corner in time. Might be able to fake it out if he's lucky, but that is playing with fire to be certain. If he goes for the pop, he instantly dies. He has to be able to fake it out or create enough distance to actually get this pop down. Poor Choices could also win this right here with an Errant Blaster. It is really tense. Right here, Math looking to close it out, take an extra point lead here, but Poor Choices has a tight defense. His Photon Burst comes up really late, very last capsule, but it does come up, and it is able to thwart the Diabolical Trick. Math chooses to sacrifice the Flash Hole now to the Blaster. Doesn't have any pressure on himself, but he might get to that capsule. before Poor Choices does. It was close. Poor Choices is just there in time. Keep Math from popping. He's got enough aura now he could throw out a photon burst just because. Heads back in. Math does get it. And he cartwheels away from that photon burst, and that will be it unless Poor Choices is able to corner him. All Math has to do is just run in a straight line at this point, and that'll be game 3 to Mr. Math. Diabolical Trick secures him his second win of the series. Math in a good spot now with game point over Poor Choices, as we will be skipping City and Refinery and moving on to Lane. See, Math gonna play to the fundamentals. Poor Choices told me that if they made it past game 3, he would break out his liberal arts arsenal. So we'll have to see whether liberal arts is able to take down the fundamental Math here. So far, both players playing very tight games, close games in pretty much every set so far. Palace is a little one-sided, but well played. Math with a 3 aura start and a very colorful hand, purples and yellows, a couple of reds. We do see the Dark Hole out of Poor Choices. Sounds like Blazing Bullet out of Math. Fire Gehenna also misses from Poor Choices. Math retreats back to base. Seems satisfied to have taken away the 3 health one way or another. Rock Shot doesn't connect. Poor Choices putting down a lot of offense, though. Math still has that Blazing Bullet. Dark Hole will eat that, given the chance. He's manualing it, trying to get Poor Choices to drop it. And a Blazing Bullet does catch Poor Choices in the air. This is starting to look like a bad position for Poor Choices. Staying away from the Flame Sword. Managing to pick up a few more skills. Blazing Bullet doesn't connect this time. Now has the Flash Hole. But that is both Flash Hole and Dark Hole versus Math's swords. Got a bit of lag there. Seems to have cleared up now. Angel's Wing catches that Flame Sword. Also catches the Blazing Bullet, but doesn't catch it with the Flash Hole, just with the Angel's Wing, so he still has the Blazing Bullet in hand. Not erased yet. Poor Choices needs to slow this down and keep erasing some of these moves if he wants to keep attention here. A health lead means so much more in this game type than in others. Throwing out the Rock Shot, just trying to put a little harass down, maybe even up the health. If he tags 2 of them, takes Math off of Blazing. Needs to be careful not to get over aggressive. Fire from safe places. Do see the Stimulate out of Math now. Make that Blazing Bullet hit even harder. Poor Choices. What? Maybe he threw 2 of them and I just didn't hear the second one. Oh, geez. With the Fire Gehenna and the Blazing Bullet trade, Poor Choices goes down, and that is a 3-1 victory for Mr. Math. Liberal Arts not enough to take down the fundamentals. Poor Choices, while showing a great run in Group D, is unable to advance past the quarterfinals. Math is destined to make it to semis, where he will lose 0-3 to his opponent.